Hey everybody, Derek here from Bomb Socks with more Bomb Bites, where we feast upon the words of Christ one bite at a time. So this is our day 3 of Zion's Camp. So Zion's Camp again. So the purpose of it is to go back and redeem the saints in Jackson County, Missouri, to help them, to fight for them. And the crazy thing about this, if you know the story of Zion's Camp, they marched and they got to a point where in section 105 of the Doctrine and Covenants, the Lord tells them, "Therefore, in consequence of the transgressions of my people, it is expedient in me that mine elders should wait for a little season for the redemption of Zion." If you saw that video that the church put together for that, you saw a lot of people, they're just like, we got here only to just turn around and go back. A lot of people were freaking out. A lot of people had a lot of problems with that. Because again, and I think you can understand that. It's like, look, we did this just so we can turn around and go back. The Lord continues in 105 verse 10, that they themselves may be prepared, and that my people may be taught more perfectly and have experience and know more perfectly concerning their duty and the things which I require at their hands. Verse 13, therefore it is expedient in me that mine elders should wait for a little season for the redemption of Zion. So you can imagine the frustration of what was going on there. But bottom line, the Lord's like, look, you don't understand the purposes of what Zion's Camp was all about. In fact, there's a cool little quote here from Dallin H. Oaks. According to its ostensible, which is the perceived or original purpose, Zion's Camp was a failure, but most of the men who were to lead the church for the next half century, including those who would take the saints across the plains and colonize the Intermountain West, came to know the prophet Joseph and received their formative leadership training in the March of Zion's Camp. Another cool quote from Neal A. Maxwell, a couple of them actually. Those who marched in Zion's Camp were not exploring the Missouri countryside, but their own possibilities. Here's another one. Episodes such as Zion's Camp, however, had nothing to do with real estate, but everything to do with our second estate. So when you look at Zion's Camp, a lot of people looked at it back then and just thought, oh, this is a failure. But the men and women who were on that trek, if you will, looked at this as something that was very good for them and in the growth and development of themselves. Like, for example, I believe, and this is my opinion, so please take it for what it's worth, a full-time mission for a young man or a young woman is more for the growth and development of them. And if you can get baptisms and growth and conversion of other people out of it too, that is awesome as well. But I really believe it is for the growth of that individual. So every young man or young woman decides to go on a mission, it becomes a little mini Zion's Camp for them. And they really get to figure out more about who they are. So what are the lessons that we should learn from Zion's Camp? Well, I actually wrote down a couple. I wrote these down a couple of years ago, and I think it's just where I was at in my life, and I really do believe this is true, especially when, for example, some of you out there are raising a family. Okay, so I put down this question: are my efforts to lead my family in the home a lot like the experience of Zion's Camp? Okay, so I started thinking about some of the things that took place with Zion's Camp. Number one, you show up. You show up. One of the things my wife and I have told our kids quite a bit, and they're probably sick of it, is that much of this life is just showing up and being where you are supposed to be and participating what you are supposed to participate in. The things that you might not even be that thrilled about, but you serve with a cheerful heart. And if you can do that, there's a lot of growth that can come from that. The second thing I was thinking about, don't complain. You have joy in the journey in this process. And that's so hard. I do it all the time. Maybe I'm the only one. I don't know if you guys complain through the journey. It's a hard thing to do. In the Zion's Camp video, we learn about a guy by the name of Sylvester Smith. Okay, no relation to Joseph, but he was known as the camp whiner, constantly complaining about things, even taking it to a point where he really fought against Joseph. He was really trying to persuade the people to not follow Joseph Smith through this process. So he ended up becoming actually one of the presidents of the 70, but eventually fell away as well. That complaining spirit was a tough one. So that's a tough one for us. So number 3, you look for lessons for leadership, organization, etc. It may not just be about saving Zion. So when you're raising a family, when you're doing those things, it might not be just about that. There's the growth and the development of the individuals you're going through this. I've always said that parenting especially can be a very harrowing experience and a very refining experience. It may just not be about raising a family. The Lord is trying to help us to become like Him. And so that's the Zion's Camp as well. Lesson number 4 I wrote down, are my efforts preparing me and my family for future opportunities and the things that we're striving to do. And that's a tough one as well, because as you're going through this, you don't know what the Lord has in store for you through this process. Number 5, even though it may seem like a waste of time, you keep moving forward. I can't tell you the number of times where we've sat down as a family and we've done prayers and scripture study, and it felt like this is just not effective. And yet the Lord has said to us to keep doing those things. And the consistency of our efforts is often the things that will very much be the things that saves us. And so I look at that and think, was Zion's Camp a failure? Nah. Those of you who are raising a family and it just doesn't seem like it's going well, are you a failure? Nah, there's a lot of things that you're learning through it. Cool quote from David A. Bednar, a brother in Kirtland who lacked the faith to volunteer to go with the camp, met Brigham Young on his return from Missouri and asked, "Well, what did you gain on this useless journey to Missouri with Joseph Smith?" Brother Brigham promptly replied, "All we went for. I would not exchange the experience I gained in that expedition for all the wealth of Geauga County, the county of which Kirtland was then located. I invite you," and this is Elder Bednar here, "I invite you to seriously think about Brigham Young's answer, all we went for. What are the key learnings we can glean from an understanding that did not accomplish its stated purpose, but nonetheless provided for those early saints and can afford for us the blessings of a lifetime?" And so just something to think about there with regards to the experiences that we're having. Sometimes we're like, this isn't working. Well, oftentimes we don't want to pull up the roots of the plant to see how the plant is doing, right? We let it grow and we let it develop. And again, it's so hard. It's so hard because I want to do that all the time. It's like, you don't feel like what you are doing is worth the effort. But the reality of it is growing you and building you. And that's a tough lesson, but I think it's an important lesson. And we read about it through these chapters of Zion's Camp. And I love the story of Zion's Camp. Great lessons for all of us, whether it's in parenting, in missionary work, or just life in general. So anyway, I hope that helps you guys out. Thanks for watching these episodes. Thanks for sharing these messages. Thanks for subscribing to our YouTube channel. Go out there if you haven't already, click that subscribe button. Make sure you go check out our amazing gospel themed socks at BOM-BITES.com. You guys are awesome. We will see you tomorrow. Godspeed. Bye-bye.